What's up, guys? Today I'm going to do my first unboxing of my first PS4 game. As you may or may not know, one of my favorite sports is basketball. I like watching basketball, I like playing basketball video games. If you look through my video history, you'll see that I had a few videos from one of the NBA 2K games, and my allegiance to the NBA 2K franchise has not changed at all. That is still one of my favorite basketball games, and if you've seen NBA Live this year, the competition is fairly subpar, if you will. And I'm trying to say that as objectively as possible. The reviews for it are not great. I played the demo. It was not a pretty sight. It wasn't as bad as if you remember correctly. I think it was 2010. The video of Andrew Bynum doing the Jesus Christ little, like, he was out like this and in the middle of the court, and that's when they decided to cancel that one. Yeah, so the competition has been great, but they came back this year, and it's going to take them a while to get there. But we got NBA 2K14 here. This game is still great despite the lackluster competition. Visual Concepts, who are the developers of NBA 2K14, still work very hard on their game, trying to make it better. And I've played it so far, so it's already been unboxed, if you will. But I'm gonna just pretend that it's brand new. I just threw away the shrink wrap and everything. Yeah, so I may have a few impressions to tell you guys too. So on the front we got NBA 2K14, which has LeBron James on it, my arch nemesis because I am a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. And yes, it is very disappointing so far this season. We are 4-10 or something. It's pretty bad. We almost lost by like 40 points to the Spurs last night. It was not good. Um, I don't actually hate LeBron James. You know, he did what he had to do to win his championships, and pretty much, ever since he left, I was like, well, I'll just watch him on another team. I don't really do that much anymore because as soon as we got Kyrie Irving, I have a new favorite player now. But LeBron James is on this one. Kyrie Irving is on the NBA Live cover. But yeah, LeBron James, this is his first cover ever, which is kind of surprising considering he's been the best player in the league for the past 5 years. More so, in my opinion, but you know, other people have their own opinions. We got, you know, him doing his little powder toss. Here's the powder behind the NBA 2K14 logo. And let's see, got the official seal of approval by the NBA, National Basketball Association. Rated E for everyone. Simple stuff. Says selling plus rated NBA video game #1. They're the #1 selling and rated video game, basketball video game. That's pretty much because for a while it was the only one around. On the back we have another picture of LeBron James doing one of his cockbag tomahawk dunks. Got some information about the game, some pictures of Andre Iguodala, LeBron James, and James Harden. And then some information about the install. So the install size is 50 gigabytes, which is pretty big. I haven't checked if it's actually 50 gigabytes. I've heard that games, the boxes will say a lot more than it actually needs. And then there's a bunch of small fine print that's really not worth reading. And so let's open this sucker up. Disc isn't in here. It's in my PS4 now. But it's pretty simple on the inside. It's just a manual. Same thing as the cover. Got some controls. They did change the controls this year, which I am not fond of at all. I absolutely hate it. And basically how it works is the right stick, it used to be shooting when you hold down L2 or the left trigger. Now the right stick does ball movement, so like dribble moves, and it can also do shooting if you hold the stick in a certain direction. And the problem with that is when I did dribble moves in NBA 2K13, I would always hold the stick in the direction to do the dribble moves. And so now that I'm used to doing that, I want to do that on this one, and instead of doing the dribble moves, it'll shoot. So I ended up switching shooting to the square button, which I don't normally do. and I absolutely hated it. And luckily for those people who have played NBA 2K13, you are lucky just like me. You can switch the controls back to the NBA 2K13 settings, and it works just like a charm, just like it used to be. They did this because they wanted to have flashy passes introduced and have it controllable, which is all fine and dandy, but I don't use them. I never used them, and if I did, it was on accident because I was trying to shoot instead of pass. And so it was not a pretty sight. I changed it last night, and it actually took a while to get used to it and go back to what I was used to, but it works better that way. My impressions of the game are this is probably one of the better looking PS4 or Xbox One games. And I say that because it's very easy to compare it to a real world model. It's like a racing game. Racing games are usually shown off for new consoles because it's very easy to compare a virtual car and a real car, or a picture of a real car. You can spot the differences. You can tell that the video game console is very close to the real world example. So, in that similarity, this game looks good in the same way. But, and I say but because it's not perfect. It's still human models. Human models are probably the easiest thing to spot differences in. You will always know the difference between a real human and a virtual human. I mean, that's probably scientifically tested. So humans will always be difficult, and when you have a game that focuses on so much more than just the human characters in the game, and there are a lot of them on screen at once, the character model still won't be the best. So, for example, Uncharted for the PS4, when that comes out, I guarantee you the character models will look almost lifelike, very photorealistic. This is close, and it's acceptable, and somehow that makes it very, very good. You know, it's hard to explain. Players like LeBron James looks very good. Kyrie Irving looks very good. Um, Stephen Curry looks good. Derrick Rose looks a little weird, kind of pasty. Um, free, Harrison Barnes on the Golden State Warriors looks very good. So it's like key players. Key players look good. Starters look good. Once you get into the bench, they kind of look kind of bad. I noticed playing the Cavaliers, Anderson Varejao looks terrible. Um, they got all that hair that you have to model, so that was probably very difficult for them. So bench players, not the best. I was drafted to the Utah Jazz, and so one of their bench players is Rudy Gobert. He's a rookie from France, I think, and he looks like an alien. I'm not even kidding you. He looks terrible. He looks terrible, not lifelike. Kind of like Kobe used to look in the last gen. Kobe used to look like an alien. I haven't played against the Lakers yet, so I don't really know what Kobe looks like. But I would assume, since he's a starter and one of the best players in the league, he probably looks really good. As far as gameplay goes, very similar to what you can expect. I've only played my career and exhibition games, and both of them have been great, especially once I changed up the controls. I got very comfortable playing it, and I loved it. My career is definitely a lot better this year, but there are still a few things with the game in general that I don't like that pop up in my career. So, for example, the menu system is absolutely horrible. It's probably one of the worst I've seen, and I'm usually not picky about that kind of stuff, but it's pretty bad. And NBA 2K has not been great about menu systems. They've changed it every year, and this year the change just made it worse. It's far too many menus just to do one thing, and it's kind of hard to explain. But basically, you got to go through one menu and then another menu just to get to what you want. When it used to be, you would have one menu which had sub menus, and it made more sense. It progressed. You could see what menu you came from, and I'm talking about 2K13 here. And so that's really all my impression of the game. I can't really think of anything else to speak on. I really have only played maybe 10-ish hours of the game, several my player games, and then 1 or 2 exhibition games. It's very good. If I had to give it a rating, I'd say like an 8.75. The menu's not the greatest, probably one of the downsides. I'm not a professional rater, but if I were, that's what I would give it. I do recommend this game. It's one of the better PS4 games. I have not played many of them, but I would imagine that it's one of the better ones. So do check it out if you're a basketball fan or a sports fan, or you're not a fan of basketball or sports at all. It's still a good game, and it's easy to pick up. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what games you want me to review. I might buy them. I might not. Whatever. It won't hurt asking. And go Cavs.